وَلَمَّا and when فَتَحُوا they opened مَتَاعَهُمْ their baggage. When the brothers of Yusuf a.s., when finally they opened up their baggage, وَجَدُوا they found بِضَاعَتَهُمْ their merchandise. Over here we read the word مَتَاع. Earlier we read the word for their bags, rihal. And rihal, remember, is a case or a box or a bag or anything in which luggage is kept. And mata' is general. Rihal is a bag, but mata' can apply to, like for example, bags as well as everything else that they had on their camels. Like for example, they had a bag, they had put it on the saddle, and then on top of the saddle they had put a rope, they had tied it with a rope. So mata' is everything that they had with them. So basically when they unpacked everything, when they opened up all of that baggage, وَجَدُوا they found بِضَاعَتَهُمْ their merchandise رُدَّتْ إِلَيْهِمْ it had been returned to them. They discovered that their money had been returned to them. So what did they do? قَالُوا they said, يَا أَبَانَا O our father, مَا نَبْغِي what more do we want? What else can we desire? Look, هذه this بضاعتنا our merchandise رُدَّتْ إِلَيْنَا it has been returned to us. In other words, they're saying that what more could we want? What more could we desire? What more could we ask of their Aziz's generosity? Of that minister's generosity? He has been so generous to us that he has returned our money to us. So we should definitely go back and get more food. مَا نَبْغِي what more could we ask? What more could we expect? Look, we should definitely go back and we should get more food from there. Secondly, this has been understood as ma nabghi. Nabghi from the root baghayniya, same root. And bugha is to desire, but baghi is to rebel, to cross limits. So ma nabghi, ma gives the meaning of not. The second meaning, that ma nabghi, we did not cross our limits. We did not cross our limits. In what? In praise of the minister and his generosity. This is a proof of what we said about him. Because when they came back, they didn't just tell their father about the fact that he should send Binyamin with them the next time, but they also mentioned to him about how generous that minister was. Which is why they should definitely go back there again. Because think about it, their father could have said to them, if he really wants Binyamin to come, and if he doesn't come, he's not going to give anything, don't go over there. Go somewhere else. Fine. Like for example, if you go to a store and they set a condition for you, what do you say? I don't want to fulfill this condition, I'll just go somewhere else. Their father could have said that. So what did they do? They began praising the minister, meaning they began praising Yusuf a.s. that he was really good to us, he was very generous to us. And when this money was discovered, they're saying, look, our father, we have not been wrong in praising him. What does this show? This is a proof of his generosity. This is a proof of his kind treatment. So we should definitely go back to him and not anywhere else. And when we go back to him, when a meal, and we will obtain supplies for who? Ahlana, for our families. For all of our families. Namiru from the root letters, mim yara. And the word made is to bring food for one's family. What is it? It is to bring food for who? For one's family. And it is also said that made is such food that is brought and stored for future use. Like for example, people will go and buy something in bulk. Like for example, they'll go to wholesale places and they'll buy stuff in bulk. And they'll store it in their garage, they will store it in their basement, they will store it in their pantries, and they will use it over a period of time. So that they don't have to go back again and again to buy the same stuff. So made is such food, such grain that is bought for one's family, and it is stored. It is stored. We might find this a bit strange, that why do you have to store it? Just go and buy it every time. But remember that at that time, you couldn't buy food that grew only in the summer, in winter. If you wanted that food, you would have to buy it in the summer. Do you understand? And if you buy it in the summer, you have to have enough for the entire season, up until the next year. This is why people would buy in bulk and they would store. And even today in some areas, people do that. Like for example, grain, wheat, where people eat wheat a lot. They buy it in bulk and they have huge storage rooms in which they store the grain so that they can use it over a period of time. So نَمِيرُ أَهْلَنَا, we will obtain supplies for our families. وَنَحْفَظُ أَخَانَا, and we will guard our brother. وَنَزْدَادُ, and we will increase كَيْلَ بَعِيرٍ, the measure of a camel. How? That if he comes with us, we will get another camel load for who? Binyamin. Right now we have been given only according to our number. But if he comes to us, we will get one more. Nazdadu from the root letters? Zayadan, from the word ziyada, and the word is actually nazdadu. So we will increase in a measure of a camel, and ذَلِكَ, that is kailun yasir. A kail, a measure that is very easy. Very easy for who? Very easy for the Egyptian minister to give because of his generosity. Or very easy for us to get if our brother comes with us. So we see that over here, out of happiness, they're telling their father that we brought the food and we've also brought the merchandise. It has also been returned to us. So let us go back. We will go, we will bring more food, and we will bring another camel load, and this will be very easy for us to obtain. What did Yaqub a.s. say? قال, he said, لَنْ أُرْسِلَهُ مَعَكُمْ, I will never send him with you. Never at all will I send him with you. حَتَّى, until, تُؤْتُونِي, you all give me, مَوْثِقًا, a firm promise. I will never send him with you until and unless you give me a firm promise, min Allahi, from Allah, meaning in the name of Allah. Mawthiqan is from the root letters, waw, sa, qaf. And remember, this is used for a promise that has been made firm and strong. How? By swearing an oath. The word misaq is also from the same root. So I will not let him go until you make a solemn oath. You make a promise, you swear in the name of Allah that لَتَأْتُنَّنِي, that surely you will definitely come to me, bihi, with him. That you will definitely bring him back to me. I will not send him with you until you swear by Allah that you will bring him back to me. Illa, except in the situation where, on that, yuhata bikum, it is surrounded with you all. What does it mean by this, yuhata bikum? Yuhata is from the root letters, ha, waw, ta, from the word ihata, which is to surround. And yuhata bikum, that you all are surrounded. Meaning you are surrounded with some difficulty, with some obstruction that you cannot overcome. You have no choice. It is beyond your ability, and you cannot come back. You cannot bring your brother back. We see over here that Yaqub a.s., although he sets that as a condition, that you will definitely bring him back, and he makes him swear by Allah, but he also realizes the fact that at the end of the day, things are not in our hand. When we make someone make a promise, what do we think? That is if everything is in our control. That everything is within our control. Just a request, if you ever have to go through class, just make sure that you go from the back or something, because when you go from the front, then everybody gets distracted. So this is for everyone. Similarly, if you have to come towards the stage to get a tissue or something, make sure you avoid that. Go towards the washrooms, go towards the back, because when you come in the center of the class, in the middle, towards the front, then it distracts everyone. Okay? This is for everybody. So, we see that Yaqub a.s., although he sets a condition, he makes some promise, he makes some swear by Allah, but at the same time he realizes that things are beyond our control. At some instances. Because after all, we are human beings. So he says, you will definitely bring him back unless you all are surrounded, you have no other choice. For example, you are overpowered by some enemy, you are unable to rescue him, you have been besieged, or you die, or he dies. Something happens preventing you from bringing him back. فَلَمَّا, then when, آتَوْهُ, they gave him, مَوْثِقَهُم, their firm promise, They swore by Allah that definitely we will bring him back. Qala, he said, Yaqub alayhi salam said, Allah is ala upon ma naqulu, whatever we say, He is a wakil, He is a trustee. Meaning Allah is watching, Allah is a caretaker, He is a guardian of what we have said. What is between you and what is between me. And then eventually He sent Binyamin with the rest of the brothers. What do we learn in this? A very important lesson, which is that Yaqub alayhi salam, he turns to Allah at every moment. He turns to Allah at every moment. He does not rely only upon himself. He does not rely only upon his sons. He does not rely on his planning. But who does he rely upon? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at the same time, just because he relies upon Allah does not mean that he doesn't do anything else. Like for example, he doesn't just send Binyamin with them saying Allah will guard him. No. He makes them take a firm promise, a swear by Allah. And he warns them. And he makes them feel bad about what they did in the past. And then he says, we trust upon Allah, we rely upon Him. He will only enable us to fulfill this promise. And this is something very, very important. Because we go to extremes. Either we say that do everything, make your own planning, execute everything yourself, and if something wrong happens, get frustrated with people, blow up on them, don't take it as something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which is why many times what happens? We ask someone to do something, if they're unable to do it, we get very, very upset. We forget the fact that maybe they were prevented because of some genuine reason which is beyond their control, which is only in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or sometimes we go to another extreme. We don't make any plans. We don't do anything. We don't make the other person feel responsible. And we say, Allah will do everything for me. Yes, He will do everything for you, but you also have to do something. Both must go together. Tadbir as well as tawakkul. What does tadbir mean? Planning. And what does tawakkul mean? Relying upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَقَالَ, and he said, on one side, he is relying upon Allah. And on the other side, he is also taking precaution. He says, Ya baniyya, O my sons. And baniyya is actually baneen. Baniyya is what? Baneen. And the noon has been dropped because of the ya mutakallim. So we translate this as baniyya, meaning my sons. So he says, O my sons, O my children, la tadkhulu, do not enter, mim babin wahidin, from one door, from one gate. Meaning when you enter Egypt, don't enter together from one gate. At that time, in that era, and also after that as well, walls were built around cities. Why? For protection. So similarly, the city where Yusuf a.s. was in Egypt, that city was also surrounded by walls. And these walls, obviously, they had multiple gates. Sometimes one, sometimes more. But this city in particular, it had multiple gates. So he tells them, when you enter Egypt, when you enter that city, don't enter from the same gate. Rather, وَدُخُلُوا, but you all should enter min abwabin, from doors that are mutafarriqa, that are different. Meaning, 2 of you enter from the same gate, 3 of you enter from another one, 3 of you from another one, etc., etc. You should not walk into that city, 11 of you together, no. But rather enter from different gates. وَمَا أُغْنِي, and I cannot avail, عَنْكُمْ from you, min Allahi, from Allah, min shay'in, from anything at all. Meaning, I cannot save you from the plan of Allah. This is only my planning. I cannot protect you. I cannot make you self-sufficient from the plan of Allah. إِنِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ, the decision is only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever happens is in the hands of Allah. And عَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ, upon Him I have trusted. وَعَلَيْهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ, and upon Him should those people who rely. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one whom you should rely upon. Now, why does he say to them that enter from different doors? What's the reason behind that? Several reasons have been given. For example, it has been said that you can imagine a group of young men, so many of them, they're entering together in the form of a caravan. And these men, if Yusuf a.s. was so handsome, you can imagine the rest of his brothers were also very good looking. So he was concerned that if they enter together, people might feel intimidated. They might feel that these men are coming with some wrong intention. So he told them to enter from different gates to avoid suspicion, so that people don't think negatively about them. They don't feel intimidated by them. Just imagine 3-4 cars entering together in the form of a group. It might surprise you. It might take you by surprise. You may wonder, who are they? Why have they come? Even if you recognize 1 or 2 individuals, you might wonder, who are the rest of them? So, this is why he told them. Another reason that is given is to avoid evil eye, to avoid envy. What does it mean by that? Because the brothers of Yusuf a.s., obviously they were also very handsome. They were tall, they were strong men, there were so many in number. And you can imagine if they're coming with their camels, riding their camels, walking in that caravan, they must have looked very, very impressive. And when people enter like that, if somebody is looking at them with hasad, with envy, with jealousy, that can affect them with the evil eye. Now, what is the evil eye? Remember that some people, they don't believe in it. They don't believe in it at all. But we learn from the texts of the Sunnah that evil eye does have a reality. It does exist. What does it mean by it? Evil eye. Basically, it is that when a person looks at something with a lot of admiration, sometimes with hasad, with jealousy, somehow or the other, Allahu A'lam how, but with Allah's will and power, the gaze of someone can have an effect, can have a physical effect on the one whom he is looking at. The gaze of someone can have a physical effect on the other. It could be a person, it could be an object, it could be an animal, it could be a building, it could be a garden. Anything. If you look at it with admiration, it's possible that that look, that gaze will give a physical effect. Now some people, they have more of a tendency to affect others with the evil eye. And other people, they don't. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, Al-aynu haqqun. And this is a hadith of Bukhari. So it is authentic. He said that the effect of the evil eye is a fact. Al-aynu haqqun. The effect of the evil eye is a fact. It is real. There is no doubt about it. Similarly, Aisha radiallahu anha, she reported, this is also reported in Bukhari, that the Prophet ﷺ ordered me or somebody else to do ruqyah if there was danger from an evil eye. Meaning if you feel that somebody has been affected by the evil eye, then what should you do? Read ruqyah. Now what does it mean by ruqyah? When you recite certain ayat of the Quran or certain adhkar, certain du'as which are authentic, which don't have any shirk in them, you recite them over the person who is suffering from an illness, and then they become a means of shifa for him by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the reason why the morning and evening du'as are so emphasized. Because they are a means of protection from a lot of evil. Not just the evil eye, but other evil as well. Because human beings are very, very vulnerable. Very vulnerable. Anything can happen to us at any time, and we can suffer with great disasters at any moment, which could be fatal, which could cause a lot of harm to us, which could be very, very injurious. So this is the reason why the morning and evening adhkar have been emphasized. Because there are many things around us that can harm us. So what should we do? We should protect ourselves from these things. Salama, she said that the Prophet ﷺ, He once saw in her house a girl whose face had a black spot on it. And this black spot must have been very dark or big or very obvious and very strange. So the Prophet ﷺ said, she is under the effect of an evil eye, so treat her with ruqyah. And sometimes it happens that, for example, a child is crying for no reason. You wonder, the child has been fed, the diaper is dry, it's not that he's hurting anywhere, it's not that he's sick, but he's just crying constantly and he cannot be comforted at all. It's not colic, it's not gas, it's nothing like that. Why is he crying? It's possible that someone was just staring at that child, wondering how cute are his cheeks or how cute are his eyes, and because of that constant gaze, perhaps out of hasad, that why isn't my child like that? Or look at this child is so beautiful. That gaze has a physical effect on that child, and because of that, the child is crying constantly without a reason, and you cannot figure out what is wrong. So there are some illnesses for which you cannot find the reason, you cannot diagnose the problem. And it's possible that it's a result of the evil eye. So, if you sense that someone has been affected by the evil eye, or you have been affected by the evil eye, then what should you do? What should you do? Just talk bad about people? They look at my things, they look at my children. I don't want them to look at my children. I won't take them anywhere again. Is this what you should do? No. We learn the solution from the Quran and Sunnah. And what is that? That first of all, we must recite du'as for protection. Not just after we have been affected, or we think we have been affected, but even before. Take your precaution. Protect yourselves from before. And these du'as for protection, they should be those du'as which are completely free of shirk. Auf ibn Malik, he said that we used to recite certain adhkar in the pre-Islamic era, so in the Jahiliyyah, before the Prophet ﷺ came, for cure. So we asked the Messenger of Allah, what formula should we recite for that purpose? Meaning, what should we do? He said, let me hear what you used to say. There is no harm in this, as long as you do not include shirk in it. So you can recite the adhkar, whether they are masnoon or not, as long as there is no shirk in it. What does shirk mean? That you think that someone other than Allah can take that problem away from you. Like, for example, in certain adhkar, people are calling upon the Prophet ﷺ. Or they're calling upon some other messenger, or angel, or a saint, sometimes a jinn, sometimes a devil. This is what? Shirk. Because only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can alleviate that problem. Only He can give shifa, only He can cure. Similarly, in different cultures, like we see that in pre-Islamic era, people had certain adhkar that they would recite. In other cultures, people use different things to ward off the evil eye. Like, for example, what do they do now? Interesting. That they take a string, they measure the height of the baby, and they burn it. Why? How does it ward off the evil eye? That if the string has been burnt, then that means that the evil eye has been burnt? Okay, what else? That they put a big dot on the baby's face, thinking that if this dot is there, this is going to ward off the evil eye. This is what shirk is. That you think that that dot is going to remove the evil eye. It's going to ward it off. Who wards it off? Only Allah. Similarly, people wear this blue thing, or they hang it up on the wall. For example, sometimes you walk into a store, into an office, and you're amazed. Even these people believe in the evil eye. I think it's more like a decoration now, because it looks blue. It looks very beautiful. It's hanging up on the wall. Sometimes people will wear a ring. Sometimes they will wear it as a pendant. Sometimes people wear a black thread. So, a thread, something that is hung, something that is worn, a person thinks that if I wear it, this will ward off the evil eye. This is what shirk is. Because you think that becomes the source. It's not the source. For example, bracelets or some necklaces with certain types of stones in them. So what's the belief over here? That the stone is going to ward off the evil eye. This is what shirk is. What did the Prophet ﷺ say? Anything without shirk is okay. Anything without shirk is okay. So, first of all, we must recite du'as for protection. Secondly, when we see something pleasing, when we see something beautiful, when we see something good, what should we say? MashaAllah, as well as Barakallahu feek. So for example, if you see a beautiful child, instead of just staring at the child and making the mother worried, or making the grandmother paranoid, what should you do? Say MashaAllah, Barakallahu feek. Say some good words to ward off the evil eye. And please don't stare. Don't continue to look. Because remember, the gaze can literally have a physical effect. If somebody's constantly staring at you, how do you feel? Just imagine somebody just looking at you constantly. How do you feel? Very awkward. You feel as if something's on your hijab, maybe something's on your eye. Maybe you don't look right. Right? You begin to wonder. You feel very nervous. So the eyes can literally have a physical effect. When you see someone beautiful, when you see something beautiful, don't stare. Instead, say something. Say Barakallahu feek. Say MashaAllah. La quwwata illa billah.